August 6, 1945. After nearly 4 years of brutal warfare in the Pacific, the Empire of Japan was brought to its knees after the United States dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, forcing them to surrender. American General Douglas MacArthur, now tasked with the occupation of Japan, sought to rebuild the country with the approval of Emperor Hirohito, with the goal to win hearts and minds rather than create more enemies. So, with the blessing of the Emperor himself and the protection and support of the U.S., Japan was able to rebuild itself into the modern cultural hub we know it as today. And while the country did benefit greatly from this partnership with the United States, the mess of global politics would present pressing issues that both countries still face to this day. China,
我在北京
a rising power in Asia, actively seeks to challenge the United States for dominance in the Pacific by aggressively projecting its military power on neighboring countries, prompting the U.S. to station nearly 55,000 American troops in Japan to intimidate and help keep China in check. While this does provide extra security for the country, a result of this high concentration of troops in Japan, especially on the island of Okinawa, which accounts for over half of that number stated before, has sparked an issue of soldiers' civilian harassment cases. Drunk driving, violence, and even sexual assault by American soldiers in the island has sparked fierce protests by local civilians, calling for the complete withdrawal of all American forces from the country. Now, while addressing the issue of how to discipline American soldiers overseas matters, that is a topic worthy of a whole video of its own. In this video, we're going to explore a more judicial issue with a large number of soldier misconduct cases in Japan, which is lenient prosecution. If you didn't know, lenient prosecution is basically when a judge or court files charges that are too light in comparison to the crime committed. This has happened often with U.S. military courts in Japan, even with sexual assault cases like the recent one of a U.S. airman's kidnapping and rape of a minor in 2023. Now, while the case is still ongoing, it follows trends from past cases that align with lenient prosecution. According to the Japan Times and numerous local media outlets at the time, Japanese authorities could not immediately detain the airman, and that the U.S. lacked transparency on revealing details on the status and progression of the case, delaying justice. With no official report of trial or sentencing, many have been led to believe that the case was handled secretly and administratively to avoid full prosecution and a public backlash. Why does this all happen? Well, according to the Asia Pacific Journal, a lot of this can be linked to the Status of Forces Agreement, aka SOFA. Signed by the US and Japan, the agreement details how to deal with soldier convict cases overseas. This treaty is the root of most of the issues cited with the 2023 airman rape and others before, because it heavily favors the US. In detail, domestic laws aren't applicable as a general rule to American soldiers in Japan, and the Japanese government has no regulatory authority with these cases, which means the U.S. military can choose not to report case details to investigating Japanese authorities. And if an investigation were to occur, it would first require approval and permission by the U.S. military themselves. These details closely align with the issues of the case mentioned before. Sexual assault cases should be handled and sentenced properly, especially in the military. But with pressure from China to keep U.S. troops in Japan, as observed in the Journal of International Affairs, the U.S. military often tries to downplay or quietly dismiss cases like these to avoid public outcry and potential escalation towards the withdrawal of American troops in Japan. So what can be done to fix this? For starters, the SOFA agreement would need extreme limitations to force the U.S. military to be more transparent to Japanese officials in soldier convict cases. This allows for efficient trials that will properly serve justice. Secondly, disciplinary measures will need to be taken against any high-ranking U.S. officials seeking to leniently prosecute or quietly dismiss soldier convict cases in order to save face. With these pressures, the U.S. military will be able to prioritize justice in future soldier convict cases. Opposing parties believe that limitations of agreements like SOFA may lead to an overall reduction of American troops in Japan and thus more vulnerability to China. While this is a valid concern, the U.S. still has a strong foothold in Asia with the ability to contain Chinese aggression, as it has many allies in Southeast Asia and the Pacific, and the largest military in the world. So a potential reduction of troops wouldn't change much. Furthermore, if the U.S. is still able to fix its military justice system overseas by addressing the solutions stated before, then Japan would have less reasons to demand for the reduction of troops in the country, as at the very least, soldier convict cases will be properly put to justice. If the issue of lenient prosecution within the US military is left unresolved, the US risks losing its relationship with its longtime ally Japan at a time where they need each other the most. Okinawa, Japan is just one example of what goes wrong with soldier convict cases and lenient prosecution by the US military, but it is the most significant given its strategic importance to the US in Asia. If the system is fixed there, it can serve as an example on how to be good to hosting nations for over 4,970 US military bases worldwide.